Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis hit third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Minnesota Twins in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Twins, right-hander Simeon Woods-Richardson, and for the Padres, right-hander Matt Waldron. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 3:40 as the Padres go for a 3-game sweep of the Twins. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll hear from Martin Perez, last night's starting pitcher. And in just a little bit, we check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres enter today 72-55. They hold the top wild card spot in the National League and are 3 games behind the Dodgers for first place. In the National League West, the Padres have won 22 of their last 27 games. Meanwhile, the Twins come in 70-56, now 3.5 games behind Cleveland for first place in the American League Central. The Twins do hold the final wild card spot in the AL. Before we turn our full attention to today's series finale, let's revisit another great Padres win here last night.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
The Padres jumped ahead in the second against Twins starter Bailey Ober. Swinging a ground ball towards the middle, base hit. Merrill around third base, being waved home by Tim Leeper. He'll score standing. David Peralta, an RBI single. And the Padres have a 1-0 lead in the second. Martin Perez kept the Padres ahead 1-0 until the 4th inning. There was a runner on base for Ryan Jeffers.
First pitch swinging, driven to left field and deep. Erickson Profar is looking up, but this one is going to be gone. A 2-run home run for Jeffers on a first pitch cutter. And all of a sudden, the Twins have a 2-1 lead.
The Twins had a 3-1 lead heading to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Bailey Ober had retired 13 in a row. Jake Cronenworth blooped a double to begin the 7th. Manny Machado was next. Swinging a high fly ball. Deep left center. This one way back and gone. Manny Machado, a 2-run homer. And just like that, this game is tied at 3. But the Twins answered right away. They loaded the bases against Tanner Scott in the top of the 8th inning. Christian Vasquez hit a pinch hit 2-run single to put the Twins ahead at 5-3. Stephen Okert came on for Minnesota in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Padres rallied again. Donovan Solano hit a pinch hit leadoff single to start the inning. Luis Arraez singled. That set the stage for Jurickson Profar. Swing and a drive into left. This one's way back, and it is gone! Jurickson Profar strikes again! A go-ahead 3-run home run in the 8th inning. It's 6-5 San Diego. Padres weren't done. Later in the inning, a runner on base for Xander. Pitch to Bogarts. A liner into right center. This is sinking. It's down. A base hit. Rolling all the way to the fence. Cronenworth racing around third. He'll score easily. X-Man. Xander Bogarts. RBI double. And the Padres get insurance. It's now 7-5 in the 8th inning. In the 9th inning, Padres still leading 7-5. Robert Suarez came in. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Padres win. Robert Suarez, a 1-2-3 ninth inning. It was Jurickson Profar, the go-ahead home run in the 8th. Padres got one more, and Robert Suarez continues to put together an excellent 2024 campaign. He shuts the door in the 9th inning, save number 29. Our final score, Padres 7 and the Twins 5. Padres have won the first 2 games of this series. They've won 9 of their last 10 series. They go for a sweep here today. Now let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center here at Petco Park.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We go down the way here at Petco Park. We're joined by Jesse Agler on the call today alongside Bob Scanlon. And Jesse, let's just sort of revisit the first 2 games of this series. Some really nice wins for the Padres, albeit they did it in different ways. A nice clean win on Monday. Yesterday went back and forth, but Jesse, once again, they just found a way to win. That has been the really the identity of this team for a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's the hallmark of the 2024 Padres is they can get it done any number of ways, and they've done so with really startling regularity coming out of the All-Star break. And I think you nailed it. You know, Monday was just kind of a normal, we're better than you here tonight kind of game. You got the good pitching, both from the starter and the relievers. You got enough offense, and then that was it. You know, it was like an old-school baseball game. And then yesterday just seemed like one weird thing after another, and then bang, couple of big late home runs from Machado and Profar. You get out hit, it doesn't matter. Just, you know, the kind of game that the Padres have won so often this year that it was impossible to win last year. And just another one of those great examples of how different 2023 and 2024 are. So, yeah, a little bit of everything in the first 2 games of the series. We'll see how it goes here this afternoon. But let me ask you, how did it go for you? You have fun?
It went very well. Went very smoothly. I told you earlier off the air, a big thank you to Dave and Scan. They were excellent to work with. A lot of fun, no doubt about it. And I got 2 wins and very, very cool games in their own right. So thank you for asking, Jesse.
Absolutely,
very fun.
Man. Congrats.
Thank you. I had a blast with Dave and Scan, and a lot of fun. A couple of nights I'll always remember. To today's game, Matt Waldron on the mound for the Padres. It's interesting, Jesse. Matt's had a great season. Last handful of starts on the whole have been rockier. Where do you place the importance on Matt Waldron sort of finding a rhythm again? Because, look, the Padres are playing great, but they need to continue playing great, and certainly having a guy like Waldron contribute would be a big deal.
Yeah, I don't want to go too big picture with it, although there's certainly a big picture conversation to be had. You know, I think for me right now, it's just trying to get Matt back on some kind of track here early in the games, right? Because that's sort of the consistent theme. And he's not the only guy in baseball or baseball history to have early inning troubles. You know, we say it probably 3 or 4 times a week. Hey, if you're going to get this guy, you got to get him early. So it's not any sort of mark against him, but it has gotten away from him, I think, a little bit lately in ways that he recognizes is not sustainable. And, you know, we're going to be talking about this stretch of 18 games in 18 days, you know, really until it comes to an end after Labor Day. And when you are in a run like that, particularly with some hot games coming up in St. Louis that sort of take a physical toll. You had a hot day the other day in Denver. You know, those things matter, and getting a starter to be able to work a little bit deeper into the game is a huge boon there. Not to put all the pressure on Waldron, and I'm certainly not saying he needs to go 8, but you want to try, if at all possible, to avoid those 4-inning starts or less, you know, as a guy that goes out there to begin the game. Matt knows that. He understands the situation. Look, the great thing is, and you can say this about everybody in the rotation for the Padres, is that the guys all understand the assignment. Everybody is on board. Everybody is on the same page. Nobody in that group is out there hunting individual numbers. They are all out there for the team, and they are being guided by a guy that I think is the best pitching coach in baseball, in Ruben Niebla. So, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect every time. It doesn't even have to be great every time. But what you're asking for is, you know, improvement. And if something does go awry, being able to right the ship. And I think that's kind of the direction Matt Waldron wants to head.
Jesse, before I let you go, I just want to touch on the shortstop situation. Obviously, the Padres putting Ha-Sung Kim on the IL yesterday. It was really interesting last night. 9th inning, Robert Suarez comes in. They put Xander Bogaerts back at shortstop. sort of a late-game defensive replacement type of deal, shuffling around some pieces. Your thoughts on how the Padres may approach filling the void of Kim in the next handful of days? The good news, it seems like it may not be that long of an absence, but it is an interesting situation for the next week or so.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the reality is, if it is indeed going to be a short stint for Kim, as everybody seems to expect, I think that allows you to not have to overcomplicate it. Now, look, if it was a bad situation and Kim was going to be out for a month or something like that, then maybe you got to get a little bit more creative. Then maybe you consider shaking things up a little bit more. But if it really is only going to be another week or so, then, yeah, I think you put Tyler Wade out there, maybe against a left-handed starter. You can now go to Mason McCoy, who was called up today from El Paso, and you don't overthink it too much. And then if you do get into a scenario like yesterday where you got Solano hitting for Wade and you got to move things around, it sounds like Xander Bogaerts and Mike Shildt had a conversation about, hey, if it's sort of this one inning, one off, are you good with it? Yes, is what it sounded like. And I don't know that we'll necessarily see it again. It's got to be one of those circumstantial things that pops up. But my sense is, and I would imagine yours as well, listening to everything that Mike said the last couple of days, is that because they expect it to be a pretty quick absence for Ha-Seong Kim, they're not going to mess too much with other stuff. And to me, that makes all the sense in the world. I think especially at this point in the season, especially considering how well things have gone for the Padres, you don't, you try not to mess with more than you have to. And so that's why you keep it simple here.
Yeah, when you've won 22 of 27, you don't want to start tinkering too much. What the Padres doing right now is working. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Scan coming up at 3:30 for this series finale. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sam.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 3:40. We've got a lot to do between now and first pitch. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll also update you on the move the Padres made earlier today. Before we hear from Mike, we'll tell you who's hot, who's not. Plus, coming up a little bit later, I go one-on-one with Padres starting pitcher Martin Perez. Much, much more to do on our pregame coverage. We continue after this from Petco Park on your home for Padres baseball, the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Yes, I am back inside the Western Metal Building. So you may have come by the last couple of days, been wondering where I was. Maybe you came to say hello. I wasn't here. Well, I am back here today and tomorrow and Friday, so come on over, say hello. Should be a lot of fun here today. Padres going for a series sweep in this 3-game set against the Minnesota Twins. Let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
The Padres did make a move earlier today. They optioned Matthew Batten, who just came up yesterday, back to AAA El Paso. Padres selecting the contract of infielder Mason McCoy from AAA El Paso. Now, McCoy is a player that was with the Padres throughout spring training. You might remember his name. He played a lot during spring training. He does have a little bit of major league experience. He played in 6 games with the Blue Jays last year, but he's been a long-time minor leaguer otherwise. So now McCoy back in the major leagues. He's up from AAA El Paso. And to make room on the 40-man roster, Fernando Tatis Jr. was transferred to the 60-day IL. Now, don't be alarmed about that transfer to the 60-day IL because I believe 60 days is actually today. I think he would actually be eligible. He's not coming back tomorrow, but he would be eligible to come back tomorrow. So that was just a little bit procedural. Clear a spot on the 40-man, get McCoy up. And Mike Shildt spoke with the media earlier today. First, he begins on the move to bring Mason McCoy on the active 26-man roster.
You know, from our seat, he's been really good job playing shortstop in AAA in El Paso, and staff was really optimistic that he would come in and be able to help us in that spot specifically, and that was a decision.
Is there any update on Fernando?
No, I'm actually going to talk to him a little bit later today with Scott Hacker, our rehab guy, rehab coordinator, and figure out his next steps to his plan.
How does McCoy change kind of what happened last night at shortstop in the ninth inning? Would that change things, or is it still kind of?
It could change things. You know, I mean, Mac's pretty much an everyday shortstop, and so and Matt Batten's a super utility guy and a very versatile guy, and creates a lot of options for us as well. Now we just pivoted and said, okay, we got a guy that's played more consistently at shortstop, and that is what we got an opportunity for him to do.
What have you seen from Waldron over the last 4 starts, and what can be done to get him into the rhythm of the game sooner? Because he is, really strong and effective as the game goes.
Yeah, Matt's gotten better as the game goes. I think the numbers clearly prove that. I mean, just about being able to go out and sometimes the first inning, you look at a lot of pitchers' first innings, sometimes it takes a while to get in your groove of the game. And so, I feel comfortable he's going to go out today and give us a clean first.
I feel like he's tackled that a couple different times, like earlier in the year, and then he kind of solved it. Do you know of any adjustments that he's made in the bullpen this time?
Yeah, we talked about it. It's not necessarily the bullpen. It's maybe the preparation going into the game with, pitch usage. And, look, you start the game and some pitches evolve as the game goes. And, so it's just a combination of things, but definitely exploring every opportunity and expecting to go out and compete very well today.
How much value do you place on progress that Bogaerts has made in learning second base, and how important it is to keep him there, to continue that trajectory that he's on at the position right now?
I think it's a great question, and I get a wonderful opportunity to answer it. Bogey's done a tremendous job at second base for us. He was a real pro in being able to go over there, especially with the short notice. And, short and second seem like they're very similar, but at short, the game's in front of you. At second, the game can be a lot behind you, especially with the pivot. It's just an entirely different situation. I think it's easier to go from second to short than vice versa. And he's gone over there, and he is now a very, very good second baseman, and he's very comfortable at it. I'm also a believer in, and I've said this a lot, you can put and move the pieces all over the field. And we do have players that can do that. You mentioned Batten is comfortable doing that. Wade's comfortable doing that. But your everyday players, Crony's gone over to second. He's comfortable doing that. He's historically done that and played at that position with experience. But it gives me, the long answer to your question, the context of him staying at second base. We have a guy that's really comfortable to establish himself in a role that he likes to do, that he's been very good at. And I don't think it's fair to him or us in a very short window to bounce him back over to shortstop and move all our pieces around. And when he's done such a great job and played very, very well and gotten rightfully comfortable at second base.
What did you think of Profar showing bunts before his home run last night?
I didn't mind it at all. I mean, if everybody knew he was going to hit a home run, you'd say, oh, why would he even think about it? One of the things that I love about Pro and our group that also I partner with these guys on, championship players think and do for themselves. And that is just true. If you look back at even, other sports, you look at quarterbacks, you have systems where, and I've studied this, I've talked to NFL coaches, and just been curious about it, like, you don't allow your quarterback to audible. You cannot audible. And then you look and see how successful those teams are. And then you look at head coaches and quarterbacks that have the freedom to go see the game or prepared to see the game and then in real time compete and allow themselves to make good baseball decisions. Same thing here. I have a guy in Profar and a bunch of guys on this team that we work together and see the game and talk about the game, but it's a player's game. And when he sees something and he feels convicted, he could have gotten a little push bunt in and gotten Crony up, the bases loaded, and had his mind around that, I think it's fantastic. He also made a good baseball decision, said, oh, it's there. I'm not going to force it. My timing's good with the bunt. I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to show I've been able to do it. I'm going to make them make an adjustment, which is competition, making other teams uncomfortable or adjust to you. And then I'm going to now attack it based on this scenario. And now I got in my bag a 3-run homer. That's how championship baseball is played.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game. Good to hear Mike talk a little football there. And if you missed the question there, it was about Jurickson Profar showing bunts in that at-bat during the 8th inning yesterday. He showed bunt on the first pitch, then didn't show bunt on the second pitch, and then he hit the 2-0 pitch out for a home run. So I like that answer from Mike Shildt. That was a very good answer. We'll hear from Mike a little bit later today on our post-game coverage. Let's quickly pause for station ID on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres get ready to take on the Minnesota Twins. Final game of this 3-game series. Padres going for a series sweep. Right-hander Matt Waldron on the mound for San Diego. Right-hander Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound for Minnesota. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with a look at the hot category. A couple of guys we'll focus on today. Jackson Merrill, since July 20th. We're going to take the big picture view in the hot category today. Merrill batting .340, 18 extra base hits, 23 RBIs in 26 games. Had a double and a run scored in last night's win. Manny Machado, his last 20 games, batting .317 with a .646 slugging percentage, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs in that span. The not category, we take a little look at more of a smaller sample size as of late. Kyle Higashioka back in the lineup today for the Padres. He is just 3 for his last 20. One of those 3 hits, a double. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 3:40. When we come back, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. I also go one-on-one with last night's starting pitcher, Martin Perez. We have our keys to the game coming up as well. First pitch at 3:40 on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 3:40 in America's finest city. A beautiful Wednesday afternoon as the Padres go for a 3-game sweep of the Twins. Let's update you on the injuries for both the Friars and the Twins.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit him up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Let's begin with the quick update on Ha-Sung Kim. Again, if you missed it yesterday, Padres putting Kim on the 10-day IL with that shoulder injury, the right shoulder. But it sounds like Kim should be back pretty soon here. Doesn't sound all that serious. But again, he was on the 10-day IL as of yesterday. As far as the Twins, couple of updates on a couple of big players for the Twins. Carlos Correa ran yesterday, still has some discomfort. Correa last played on July 12th. He's been dealing with plantar fasciitis. So again, Correa reporting some discomfort yesterday when he ran. No timetable yet for his return. Byron Buxton dealing with a hip injury, could be activated on Friday if he continues to progress this week. But the long story short from the Padres' perspective is that they will continue to miss two very important players to Minnesota, Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton. And that's a quick look at the injury report on this Wednesday as the Padres get ready to take on the Twins. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at the action today around the major leagues. We've got a few games that have already gone final. Let's begin with the White Sox beating the Giants already today, 6-2 in San Francisco. Rangers beat the Pirates 1-0 in Arlington. Wyatt Langford, a walk-off hit in that game for the Rangers as they beat the Pirates. Red Sox beat the Astros 4-1. In Houston earlier today, Mets beat the Orioles 4-3 in New York. Jesse Winker, a walk-off home run in that game for the Mets. And now the Mets will head out to San Diego for a series starting tomorrow. Games yet to begin. Diamondbacks at the Marlins in Miami at 3:40. Rockies and the Nationals in D.C. at 3:45. Guardians and the Yankees in New York at 4:05. Reds in Toronto at 4:07. Phillies in Atlanta at 4:20. Brewers and the Cardinals at 4:45 in St. Louis. Tigers and the Cubs in Chicago at 5:05. Angels and the Royals in Kansas City at 5:10. Rays and the A's in Oakland at 6:40. And finally, the Mariners and the Dodgers in L.A. at 7:10. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday across the major leagues. Well, yesterday for Padres left-hander Martin Perez, little bit of a more up-and-down outing after he had a sub-2 ERA in his first 3 starts with the Padres. Yesterday for Perez, his final line, he went 4 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs given up, but Twins took a 3-1 lead in the 4th inning. He was able to limit the damage, pitch into the 5th inning, keep it a 2-run deficit, and ultimately the Padres came back to win the game. I had a great conversation with left-hander Martin Perez a little bit earlier today.
You were on the mound last night, ended up being a really nice win for your team. Obviously, first 3 starts in a Padres uniform, they were excellent. Maybe a little bit more up and down last night. How'd you feel about last night's outing?
Good. I think at the end we win the game, and that's all matter. But I think I was, able to hold the game in the 5th, and I think that was one of the key to the game. They scored just 1 run, and then we came back and we scored. And then, so they come again and they, score a couple runs. But I think the good thing we have now is we support, each other, and I think that's good as a group. I think we have really good chance to go to the playoff and do what we're looking for, that is go to World Series.
You mentioned being able to limit the damage in the 5th inning yesterday, and you're right, that ended up being a big part of the game, the fact that you and then Hoeing and then Matsui kept it a 2-run deficit. What have you learned over the course of your career about those situations when you give up a couple of runs, the importance of keeping it right there?
I think you have to control your emotions, and then you gotta stay focused no matter what, because I mean it's 27 out, and I think in any moment you're gonna have a chance to, you know, your team's gonna have a chance to score a couple runs, and you you're gonna win the game. So, but I think last night was my emotion. I was 100% like with my, mind controlled, and as soon as I saw that fly ball to profile room, I went behind home, and I was able to catch that ball and throw to home, and then we make another out. But that's a thing that you have to do. Like, it doesn't matter how many runs you give up. You gotta stay focused, because at some point the game's gonna change and you're gonna have a chance to win.
Martin, you make a great point. That play backing up the throw, that was a big moment in that inning. You mentioned Jurickson Profar. He has the big swing in yesterday's game. I know you haven't been here all year, but that guy Profar, he's been doing that all year long. In your early part of your Padres career, what have you noticed about that guy Profar?
I mean, first of all, he's a good human man. I mean, Profar is a great guy, great man, and he's humble. And I don't know if you guys know, but I was one of the guys who teach Profar Spanish. I mean, long time ago, and I think we from the first day that I met him, we started to create a good relationship, and then and now be part of his teammate again, and play together again. It means a lot for me, because I know where he come from, and he know where I come from. So and I think he's doing a lot for this team, and I know he got more to do, and we not finished yet, but he got a great talent, and I think he's one of the smarter guys that I ever played. I mean, Profar is smart, and he know what he need to do, and he understand the game, and that's good when you have a guy, like Profar playing behind you. You feel good 100% every time, and that good thing too is he's a funny guy. So, and that's why he's special, because he's never mad. He's just trying to, enjoy the game, have fun, and that's all about it. I mean, this is a game, and we just got to have fun and then go out there and enjoy it.
You and Jurickson go back a long ways. You came up with the Rangers, spent a long time in Texas, so did Jurickson. Moving on to this team as a whole, the ability to come back. Obviously, they've shown it. It feels like a group that is just finding ways to win. Martin, you were on a team last year, the Rangers. You go to the World Series, you win the World Series. You saw what a World Series caliber team looks like. I know it's really early here. It's August. How do you compare what you were a part of last year to maybe what you're seeing right now here?
We have everything we need to go to the World Series. I mean, no doubt. We have the passion, we have the commitment, we have the, we're fighting together for the same goal. And I think this is one of the best clubhouses that I've ever been. I mean, no doubt. I can say that 100%. Everybody's in the same page. Everybody has a good person. Like the coaches, they know that they here for us, and they trying to make us better every day. I think as individual, everybody, they know what they need to do, and they get ready every day to go out there and help the team to win game, and then that's all matter, man. I think when you have the right mentality, when you have that young talent, and then when you have that veteran guys, and then you put all that talent together, good things gonna happen like last night, and like I say, we're not gonna give up. We know what we need to do. We know what we want, and we know where we're going. And I think I was in the World Series last year, but I can say, and I'm not scared to saying, we have everything we need to go and face, and a good opponent on the World Series. So we just got to stay focused and keep doing our thing and move on, man.
We're joined by Padres pitcher Martin Perez and the Padres Radio Network. Martin, I want to finish by bringing it back to you. We know you've made some adjustments since you've arrived in San Diego. I know really even before that, your final few weeks, month in Pittsburgh, your pitch mix, some mechanical adjustments as well. How do you feel right now about your journey this season, those adjustments you've made?
I feel good. I mean, and I always have one thing on mind. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And yeah, I think if the Padres bring me here, it's because they think that I can help them to move on, to move forward, and I just wanna have the baseball in my hand every 5 days to go out there and do my job and trying to, not trying to go out there and win many games we can, but. What happened in the past, I just stay in the past. I don't like to talk about what stay behind me. So I just living my, trying to enjoy my good moment with this team and to have fun every day and get ready for my next outing and focus on my reports, focus on the hitters that I'm gonna face and trying to be ready that day that I'm gonna have the chance to go out there and compete.
Martin, as always, appreciate the time. This was great, and good luck in your next start. We'll talk to you again down the road.
Thank you very much.
That was Padres starting pitcher Martin Perez earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. First pitch coming up at 3:40 as the Padres take on the Minnesota Twins. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, Matt Waldron limiting the home run ball. He's allowed 11 home runs in his last 9 starts, and we'll get a little bit deeper into Waldron when we come back, but he's allowed just 7 home runs in his first 16 starts of the season. So again, 11 home runs given up in his last 9, just 7 given up in his first 16 starts of the year. So the home run ball lately has been a problem. We'll see if Matt Waldron can keep the Twins in the yard here today. Key number 2, couple of hitters to keep an eye on for the Minnesota Twins. Couple of guys the Padres need to keep in check here today. First guy is Christian Vasquez, who had a big 2-run single last night for the Twins late. He's hitting .347 in his last 25 games. Vasquez was not in the starting lineup yesterday. Did have a pinch hit appearance with that 2-run single. Vasquez is back in the lineup today. And the Padres also need to keep limiting Royce Lewis, big-time power hitter in the Minnesota lineup. Just 1 for 8 to begin this series. The 1 hit, an infield single. We'll see if the Padres can limit both Vasquez and Royce Lewis here today. And that's a quick look at our keys to the game. When we come back, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game. We'll also dive even deeper into today's pitching matchup between Matt Waldron and Simeon Woods Richardson. First pitch coming up at 3:40. We're back after this on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected, EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for here today? We'll keep it simple today. How about Jurickson Profar? How does he continue to impact this series? He now leads the Padres in runs scored, in RBIs after yesterday's home run. He's tied for the team lead in home runs with 20. Profar has a .387 on-base percentage this year. Only Freddie Freeman at .390 has a higher on-base percentage in the National League. It's been a little bit cooler for Profar in August. He's only hitting .206 this month, but yesterday, a big-time home run. Can that get Jurickson Profar sort of going again? That's what to watch for in today's game. How Pro does towards the very top of the Padres lineup. Let's take a look at our starting pitching matchup here today between Matt Waldron and Simeon Woods-Richardson.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
Right-hander Matt Waldron on the mound for the Padres today. 7-10, a 4.29 ERA in 25 starts so far this season. 138-plus innings. He struck out 127, walked 39. Last start at Colorado, 5 2/3 innings, 7 earned runs given up on 9 hits. He allowed 2 home runs. The start prior in Miami, 4 innings and a third, 5 earned runs allowed. His last 4 starts, it's been rougher for Matt. 8.24 ERA in 19-plus innings. That comes after a span of 14 starts where he posted a 2.76 ERA. So Matt's had a great year. Last 4 starts, though, have been a lot rockier, really. First career start today against the Twins for Matt Waldron. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Minnesota Twins, 23-year-old Simeon Woods-Richardson, so far in the major leagues this season, 4-3, 3.77 ERA, 107-plus innings. He struck out 92 and walked 33. Woods-Richardson gave up 2 runs in 5 innings in a win against the Rangers on Friday. Twins have won games when he's on the mound. Twins are 14-7 in Woods-Richardson starts this season. He's given up 2 earned runs or fewer in 5 of his last 7 starts. So he's pitched pretty well, and the Padres seeing a guy they've never seen before in Simeon Woods-Richardson here today. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup between Woods-Richardson and Waldron, with first pitch coming up at 3:40. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Padres going for a 3-game sweep of the Minnesota Twins. A nice win on Monday, a comeback win last night. What's in store on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon? We're going to find out. When we come back, Jesse Ackler, Bob Scanlon have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our postgame show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network.
I'll tell you what I am.